Hey, what is going on, everybody? I'm Max here from the Mama's Legacy podcast, and I'm joined here with the two co-hosts of BSS Scouting. How you guys doing?
Uh,
Shit.
here, hold up. It's actually BS Scouting.
Oh,
Sorry.
BS Scouting. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's confusing with the double S with BS Scouting. Yeah,
BS Scouting, guys. I'm joined here with Sean and Bradley. How you two doing?
good man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good myself. About a week off, but we are back here now. We're here to talk the NBA offseason update. I haven't been to the NBA for quite a while. I've been doing a lot of NFL podcasts, but there's a bunch to hop onto, a bunch of trades going down, rumors, extensions that we should talk about. I mean, NBA tournaments, all sorts of stuff. And let's just jump right into it. John Wall and the Houston Rockets have agreed to part ways, and they're looking for a trade partner for John Wall. I mean, there's not too much you can do. John Wall is at this point in time, he's an average basketball player. He's a starting point guard on a team. He can give you good minutes, but for $44.5 million, is he really somebody you want on your team? And it's really hard to trade somebody on an untradeable contract. I mean, we saw that problem with Russell Westbrook. You need to give up a lot for somebody who isn't worth terribly too much, in my opinion, nowadays. Sean, where do you think that John Wall will end up, and what scenario do you think he's going to, get
Oh
traded for?
man. That's a tough one. So personally, my favorite destination is if he were to land with the Mavericks. I think they could you they could take a chance. I think they're in a situation where it's kind of stall right now with the roster they have. I think the point guard. I think they could use another guy with Luca, and I don't think Chris Tapps is totally fulfilling that. But what I believe will happen, uh, it's hard for me not to see a buyout. Brad, how do you feel?
Yeah, that's actually what I was gonna say. I see a buyout happening here. I've heard stories already that say they don't expect a trade until or any time before the deadline, and I'm just expecting a buyout. It's just too hard to match value with salary when John Wall's 44.5 million, as you alluded to earlier, Max. So that's where I look at Wall, and I'm guessing they're just going to get a buyout at some point this during the season. Mavericks are a team. I agree there. I think they need someone else that can create besides Luca. Clippers are another team. Maybe the Warriors. Those would be three teams I think would be interested though in the buyout market.
I mean, I agree. I think the Clippers actually would be, well, not buyout though. I believe that there could be a trade going down here now that they picked up Bledsoe and his massive contract.
Yeah,
I
that's
believe, I believe the
that was one
Clippers
point.
could probably trade Bledsoe. They're obviously going to give up a pick if they don't have a first. If they don't give up a first, it's going to be like 2 or 3 seconds. And then, I mean, you can throw in whoever to match the salary. Bledsoe takes up most of it. Then the Clippers get a starting point guard, capable guy who can be a leader in the locker room, is what and that's definitely what the Clippers have been needing lately. So if John Wall went to the Clippers, that could be kind of realistic. The only other really place that could work, and it doesn't make too much sense in my mind, but I've read a couple things suggesting it, is if he went to the Thunder. If the
Yeah,
Rockets
that's what.
attached a second round pick to him, Thunder take him. Thunder work their magic because I mean they've traded
Yeah.
people who aren't tradable. I mean look what they did with Kemba Walker.
Mhm.
Uh, so I mean,
Exactly.
when you think about it, I think the Thunder or Clippers are the only two guys that would potentially make a trade for it. I mean, people have been saying the Cavaliers, but if you're giving up because they've been rumored to be wanting to trade Sexton, if you're giving up Sexton for John Wall, you're a terrible GM and you should be fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
So there's not terribly too many landing spots for John Wall. But speaking of point guards and getting out of their team situation, Ben Simmons is another one on this list. The 76ers have reached out to try and amend the relationship between the two, and Ben Simmons is not even returning their calls, not returning Joel Embiid's call. Ben Simmons is out of here. He's losing. I believe he can lose a couple $1 million this offseason if he doesn't show up to any of the training camp or practices. And so far, he has not showed up to any of them. But the 76ers have really overpriced Ben Simmons. I think we've talked about this a couple times
Yeah,
on the
we have a
streams.
little bit.
Yeah,
Uh,
and they've kind of overpriced him, and now they're kind of out of the point of area where everybody wants to make the trades. I mean, you kind of got to do it before draft night. That's when you can make a big trade, or during free agency. That's another time you can make a good trade. But right now, right before the season starts, who's really going to be willing to give up a giant haul for Ben Simmons, change up their locker room a month before the season begins?
Yeah, I mean, not many teams. Uh, I mean, there were rumors of the one small market team being in play for him. I have a guess who that might be. Uh, I'm guessing it's the Timberwolves. I haven't heard
Oh,
as much. I feel like I haven't heard as much. I saw something the other day saying they wouldn't be willing to trade Cat or Edwards for any price in general. But I didn't see that for D'Angelo Russell as they once felt about him. So I don't know if they are into being open to including D'Lo and a lot of other pieces. I don't know if that's what they're trying to do. But I don't see that as a beneficial trade for the Sixers, really.
Well, I mean, let's be
so
honest. The Sixers aren't really beneficial. They signed Andre Drummond, but sorry for interrupting, Sean.
Well, yeah,
no,
well,
you're all
good.
good.
Yeah, I
I,
mean,
I actually alluded to a different small market that I thought might be in play. Mine was I thought the Cavaliers
Mm.
might be one with maybe a Colin Sexton package. I know he's been rumored to
yeah,
a lot of trades this offseason. It didn't happen. But Cleveland has kind of said they don't feel comfortable right now giving him an extension. Um, I I kind of thought they might be a team interested though, even though they have like a lot of big men now after the off season. I mean, uh, it could maybe they want to try something with Ben Simmons there. I don't know. That's kind of who I thought though would win the small market team. Max, who was your small market team in your head?
Well, my small market team, I mean, they're kind of iffy on it, but I'd say the Indiana Pacers. I think that would be really beneficial. You trade Miles Turner and maybe Brogdon, and I think you got a deal set up for Ben Simmons. You throw in a first there. I think it's done deal. I mean, maybe you could even like nudge them to give up Seth, but that was kind of like the more makes sense one. And then I have one that's kind of out of left field,
mm-hmm.
and I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this take, but I think a Ben Simmons Kyrie Irving swap would work. Now, hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Do the Nets need Kyrie to have a dominant offense? Not at
No.
all. They don't need that. Do they have a defense? Not at all. They need that. Ben Simmons provides that. Ben Simmons will not be asked to shoot the ball over here. He'll be asked to play make and play defense, and that's what he's perfect at doing. If you take away Ben Simmons' lack of offense, he is an amazing player. His defense, I believe, is top five in the league. His playmaking for his size, it's pretty good. I mean, people have compared him a couple times to Magic Johnson's
No,
playmaking.
yeah,
I think.
he's one of the best passers to shooters in the league for sure.
And that's why I kind of feel like he'd be a perfect fit for the Nets. I mean, Kyrie Irving doesn't need to be there to play offense. And I'm one of those people. I don't hate on Kyrie when he misses games, right? I don't hate on him for doing it because he typically has a good reason. But at the same time, you do got to take into account he is missing games at the end of the day. With Kyrie, you don't know if he's going to be gone for a week, 2 weeks. Again, not hating on him. I support when he does it, but at the same time, you got to bring up he does miss a lot of games. Ben Simmons, he'll be there night in, night out. He doesn't take days really off. So I think, honestly, the Nets make the most sense to trade for Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see your point there, and a lot of that makes sense. I agree 100% from the Nets perspective. It makes a ton of sense. From the Sixers standpoint, it does make sense. However, just the fact that the Nets are your top competition in the East, I don't know. That would scare me doing a swap like that.
I mean, it would scare me too, but at the end of the day, I think Kyrie is a bit more tradable than Ben Simmons. So if you wanted to flip then Kyrie for some other pieces, I'm pretty sure you could get the deal done.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, to an extent. Yeah, I mean, he has a expiring contract is the only thing,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to Ben being on a 4-year deal. So the team that I think makes most sense making a deal is the Wizards. I think I've said it before. Doing a Brad Beal swap for Simmons and maybe Maxey and a pick, something like that. I just see as a
I
good
think
restart.
I think Ben Simmons would be great in Washington. I think that would give him the chance to, kind of, like
Yeah,
you said, restart, get his game under his belt, work on his offense. He's not going to be getting yelled at by the coach if he's shooting a shit ton of shots and missing them because, want to develop him. So I think Washington would be a great place. The problem is the Sixers won't give you anything more than Ben Simmons for Bradley Beal. We know how they
Yeah,
are.
that's yeah.
They're
Yeah.
stingy. You're not getting anything else but
Yeah.
Ben Simmons for Bradley. And I think that's where the deal would kind of fall through. I do believe, though, the Washington Wizards are a sleeper team right now in the East. They're not going to win no championship, but I do see them getting to the first round. Just wanted to make that quick hot take. But another deal that kind of shut down a lot of trade possibilities with the Nuggets was Aaron Gordon agreed to a 4-year, $92 million contract extension. Was that too much for Gordon?
What do you think, Sean?
Uh, to be honest, you gotta pay your players at the end of the day if you're trying to accomplish something. Nuggets, they're in a situation where they want to win. Uh, Assuming if Jamal Murray did not get hurt last year, I would. They might have been my favorite team to possibly take the West. They easily could have been. And if Jamal Murray can come back, get to where he was, like at some point during the season, yeah, you got championship roster possibly. I mean, you got the MVP. You got to get the players around him. Aaron Gordon's the perfect fit with Jokic. If you if you got to go into a luxury tax to do it, you got to go into a luxury tax. That's what it takes to win nowadays. Brad, how do you feel?
Yeah, I'm on the same boat there. I mean, you got pay your players when you have the core, and at this point, it's just the owner's money. It's just what the owner feels comfortable with paying. Uh, Once you're in the luxury tax, and look, I mean, it's 4 year, 92 million. Is it quite a bit? Yes, but you need a guy that can guard the other team's best forward. There's just too many elite forwards in the NBA that you have to get past, like a LeBron James. You need someone with the body and frame that can guard him. And Aaron Gordon is one of those guys. And we also saw them last year unwilling to pay Jeremy Grant the 3 year, $60 million deal. And now I'm sure they would take that back in a heartbeat. I mean, I don't think anyone not many expected him to break out like he did, but at the end of the day, this was a deal that had to be made. They couldn't let him go.
Well,
Yeah, I was gonna say with Jeremy Grant though, he did get offered the 3 year 60 from Denver. He chose
Oh yeah,
Pistons.
you're right. Yeah,
But I mean, if Denver would have thrown in $2 more million per year, you never know, that could have persuaded him. But yeah, what were we gonna say, Max?
I'm about to disagree with both of y'all because we have yet to see Aaron Gordon really perform in the playoffs. He did
yeah.
play great defense on Damian Lillard in the first round. I'll give him that.
Mhm.
But during his time in Orlando, what did he do in the playoffs? Nothing really. He was just there. He wasn't a $20 million a year contract guy. And
Yeah.
then I actually had the privilege to go to one of the Denver Nuggets playoff games. I went to game 3 against the Suns, and he sucked. He sucked that entire series against the Suns. He could not shoot the ball, he could not play defense, and he looked lost on some rotations. So, is he worth $20 million to me? No. I think that money would have been more well spent with re signing Paul Millsap. I think it would have been a bit more well spent if you went and signed some other veterans. I think Melo back to Denver was interesting. Thank God the Lakers got him. But I did think that Melo to the Denver Nuggets, the reunion, I think that would be an interesting fit. He could sit in the corner, let Jokic dominate the paint all he wants. There were a ton of, I think they could have signed a ton of other guys with that money instead of Aaron Gordon, and I would have been more okay with it. Uh, Again, I'm not hating on it. I think maybe they could have
No,
picked
yeah.
up Danny Green.
No, oh yeah,
I think
I
that would have
see.
been.
I see where you're coming from.
I think they paid him too much. I don't think he's performed and proven himself in the playoffs yet. He can play in the regular season. We've seen that. He can dunk the basketball like nobody else. Yet to win a dunk contest, though. So at the end of the day, $20 million a year is kind of pushing it for somebody who has yet to show his worth come playoff time. The Nuggets, like I think everybody expects them to be competing for a championship these next coming years.
Yeah,
Yeah. Go
my
ahead.
thing with Aaron Gordon is I don't think he needs to. He'll have to take too much big of a step for this team. Like I don't think they care. Like I get if he underperformed defensively in the playoffs, but I think they have hopes that he can do better. I mean, he's still relatively young. I mean, not too. He's what, 27 now,
Yeah,
right?
27, I think.
So he still could develop some things, but he's not gonna need to be the top two guy on the team. I think he'll fit what they need, and I think it is an overpay. Don't get me wrong. I think 21 million is a lot for a guy for a guy, but if you got a championship roster, sometimes you just have to make those moves, and live with that at the end of the day.
Well, I know you got to live with it, but at the end of the day, he's come playoff time against the Suns, he was extremely inefficient, and
Yeah,
that's what I'm more worried about. Like you said, they don't need him to be an all star. They don't need
yeah,
that. They
but they
have
had to rely on him in the playoffs. That's where I think they had to rely on him a little too much in the playoffs for, and they won't have to in future years when they have Murray back taking shots. They'll get a couple more shooters on that roster. I don't think he'll have to like take too many shots for them or shot create that often.
I guess I again I don't think it was the right move. I think you would have done better signing more efficient players to come in. I think that would have been their best move. I don't think it is a terrible guy to have on your team by any means. I think that he
Mhm.
can energize the entire team if he gets a dunk up. I think that's extremely valuable in this league. I think he's is a bit like Montrezl Harrell, in my opinion. His value isn't exactly the stats; it's how he's the energizer bunny of the team and can get everybody worked up. And I think that that is what he's perfect for. Again, I think it's an overpay, and I think it's going to bite them in the butt later on when they're trying to re-sign everybody, keep the team together. I think that's going to bite them in the butt, and I don't believe he will finish his fourth year with the Nuggets because of that. I think he's going to get traded. I don't think he's going to develop too much further. I think we've kind of seen where he's plateaued at. If he gets better, I'm going to eat my words, and I'm never going to hear the end of it. However, I think we've seen him plateau, and that's
No,
what I'm really worried about.
I agree that I don't, at least on the offensive end, I'm not expecting much more. But next to Jokic, you need an athletic four. You need someone that can be a weak side rim protector a little bit. Nice, or I mean, it's nice if he can cut, just be that kind of guy. And Aaron Gordon is that kind of guy. That's where I do like the fit. Uh, and I don't know, with Paul Millsap, I don't know. I watched him. I don't know. I don't think he's got much gas left in the tank. He's pretty.
Well,
Uh, if that they will went that route rather than re-signing Gordon.
Well,
I
no, I don't think Millsap would have been the big guy they got, but I do think Millsap can shoot efficiently. I believe he's around a 40% three-point shooter, if I'm not mistaken. He shoots the ball pretty. Well in the Denver Nuggets, he's shot the three ball more efficiently, and he can efficiently score the ball. He's not shooting about 9, 10 times a game, which Aaron Gordon, his playoff stats, like you guys said, they relied on him, right? They needed him to step
yeah.
up and score points. They were giving him more shots. He only averaged 11 points in the playoffs.
I hate to fact check you like this, but Paul Millsap was not a 40% 3-point shooter. He was a
I'm
34.
oh, 30. Okay, 34. My bad. My bad. My bad.
Yeah,
I've been doing too much stats, but 34. Okay, that's not terrible though for a power forward. That's not terrible. I'm not gonna hate on that. And yet, you fact checked me there, and I'll give you that. But at the same time, like you guys said, they relied on him, and he only averaged 11 points a game and only 2 assists. They relied on him. I believe that other guys outperformed and that weren't relied on as much. I think MPJ he needs to take the step up, and I think if he made the step
Oh
up,
yeah.
Aaron Gordon wasn't on the team. I still think they're a championship team.
I mean, yeah, I mean, hey, we'll see what happens in the future, and we'll have to come back to this topic and see who was right, who was wrong.
Yeah, we will. Now, the
Love it.
big controversial topic, I think it's a 50-50 thing, is the NBA's mid-season tournament. They're discussing having it with a $1 million per player in prize money. Do you guys think that this is a good idea for the NBA?
I'll let Brad go first.
So, I mean, from an entertainment standpoint, I do see the appeal. However, I do believe I don't think the players will be down with this. Uh, Obviously, they don't want more meaningful games and risk injury and stuff like that. The only there's only a couple ways I can maybe see this working out. And that's if like they were to reduce the schedule by maybe like a quarter. So maybe make it a 62 to 65 game season. Have the tournament if they get a almost like a mini all-star break, then go back into games. Maybe I could see something like that. And then also maybe some incentive if you do win in the mid-season tournament, like something like automatic home court advantage in the playoffs or something to that effect.
I think I agree with you there. Before I let you hop in, Sean, the one thing I'm gonna let you talk about this then. So, I think it would end up just becoming another summer league scenario. I don't think people like LeBron James are going to be that interested in a 1 million bonus. I don't think LeBron's going to
exactly, yeah.
be
No.
jumping for joy for that. He doesn't need it. But there's other players on the roster that are making less than $1 million a year that would love this. There's some players that live on the line. They're always moving. They can't afford everything, and they would really need this $1 million bonus. And I think it would just be the end. At the end of it, it would just be the guys at the bottom of the roster competing. And I I don't think that's going to bring in too many views. Now, the summer league's a bit different, obviously. The summer league will bring in views because it's new guys, but nobody wants to see 36-year-old Paul Millsap competing for a $1 million bonus. I
Yeah.
don't think anybody wants to see that. So I want to hear your thoughts on that, Sean.
So, I have I have mixed feelings. So, first off, I think from an entertainment standpoint, I've been kind of wanting the NBA to do something like this in some sort of nature. I just think it's exciting having, especially if it was like a single elimination tournament. I think that could be really exciting, like how March Madness is. I would really love to see the NBA do something like that. However, it is very hard to see a motive for these players. I mean, maybe if you did something where it was like a percentage of their contract, like you'll get a 10% bonus in your contracts from the NBA, or I don't know, because like I don't know how you want to get those stars on board with this, because it'll never work if the stars aren't on board. They'll just complain. And I mean, the NBA stars, they get what they want a lot of times, and whether that's good or bad, I mean, that's just how it is. And I think that's something they highly have to factor.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be really hard to convince somebody like Kawhi Leonard to participate in this, who's
No,
missing
no
games due
way
to
he
load
would.
management.
No way.
Yeah, cool. Like people like Kawhi won't show up, and then if Kawhi's not showing up, you're not going to have a really competitive other team because they're like, oh, well, it's just Paul George. We're not too worried about that. And I don't think Paul George is worried about playing in this game because he's getting $145 million, or he's getting more than that. Paul George.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Out the wazoo, but like I said, I don't think big stars have any interest in this. They're not worried about money. They're worried about winning championships. So the only incentive, like you said, home court advantage, would have to be something that would help them win a championship.
Yeah, that's the only way I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, that too. That was a good
think
point, Brad.
money would be enough for it. Even if it is a percentage thing, like it just for these guys, they just got boatloads of money. I mean, I don't think.
The only like other thing that I've kind of thought about, but I don't know how you make it make sense, is the winner of the team. Oh, they get they get an extra week before the playoffs start, or something like they don't play the last 8 games of the regular season, something like that. Rest up their stars. I think if you're LeBron, then you want to win that. It's a single game elimination. Yeah, I'll take that extra week off before the playoffs start. So I think it would have to be something that prioritizes them winning the championship.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm gonna wrap this up.
I'd agree.
I didn't add this to the topic list. So you guys ready for this oddball?
All right, bring it.
And it's not really an oddball. It is kind of a weird question now that we've got all the big contract extensions done. The Brooklyn Nets picking up some older veterans who apparently are great signings, but the Lakers do it and we're a retirement home. We're not going to talk about that though right now. But I want to hear your final thoughts. I think this is going to be kind of like the final big thing before the season starts. Who won this offseason?
Well, I know who I think. I'll start off. I like the Miami Heat. I think they had a tremendous offseason in the moves they made. Kyle Lowry, I thought he was the guy. I thought he was the guy the Lakers should have went after over Russell Westbrook. I really like Kyle Lowry and the championship mentality he brings, the way he plays, the way he goes about his business. and he's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Then they somehow added Victor Oladipo on a cheap contract. Now that's a wild card. We don't know how often he's going to be healthy, but then they also were able to re-sign Duncan Robinson. They were also able to,
PJ Tucker, I believe.
yes,
Yeah, that's
that's
who
what I was
I.
going to say. That's why I don't think the Bucks have any chance of winning a title this year, and call that hot take or whatever. But I don't think they'll be winning the chip without PJ Tucker. He is just such a dog, and that they just got so many good defenders. If Victor Oladipo is healthy, that's Lowry, Oladipo, Butler, Adebayo, and Tucker. That's
That's an all defensive
yeah,
NBA
exactly.
lineup.
Exactly. So I think they made huge strides where I didn't see them as anywhere near a championship team before, really. To now they're my third team after the Lakers and Nets. They're my third favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, Sean, who do you think won the
All right.
offseason?
All right, you're gonna love this. Mine is the Philadelphia. Oh no, just kidding. The LA Lakers.
There we go.
Yeah, It's hard for me not to say them. I am a fan of the Russell Westbrook move. I think it was just it was too easy to get better. It was like too easy of an opportunity for the Lakers to get better in that moment. I don't think they gave up real pieces, or I felt like they were all replaceable pieces.
Agreed.
KCP, you can replace him with veteran shooters that are veterans.
I don't think Harold was a good fit there either. So.
Yeah, no, I wasn't a big fan of Harold there. I think Kuzma, it was just time for him to go. I think Westbrook's great. I love the signings they made with Melo, Malik Monk, Kendrick Nunn will be interesting. I'm not a huge Nunn guy, but we'll see how he does there. And I mean, I'm sorry, who was the other forward they signed?
Trevor Ariza.
Trevor Ariza, yeah, that's who I was gonna say. I mean, just another plug-in guy for them with playoff experience.
They also got the big man you don't want to forget about.
Yeah, no, Dwight Howard they got.
Then DeAndre Jordan too.
Yep.
Oh my God, that's right. I totally forgot about DeAndre.
Yeah.
See, they were number one before
you.
that. Yeah, literally. So I'm just saying, it's hard not to say the Lakers as winners. I think I get their old, the retirement home, but I mean, at the end of the day, they're just they're the most talented team possibly. It's hard to argue. Them or Nets, but I just felt like the Lakers got a lot better.
Well, if we're gonna go off, everything that happened in the offseason, this is gonna shock everybody, but in terms of where they've put their franchises in place to be great again, maybe not this season, but in the future, I definitely gotta say the Houston Rockets. They have one hell of a roster right now. They're not gonna win this year, obviously, but the future is bright in Houston, and it's something that I'm looking forward. I think KPJ and Jalen Green together is a nasty duo. They're going to get John Wall out of there. More development for them. They got Sengun, biggest steal in the draft. I think if Sengun plays like he did in the summer league, if he plays even like 75% that great,
yeah.
he has potential to be the next Rockets great. And you at the end of his career, if he plays there, I could see you putting him on a list just a tier below Hakeem. So that's my take. I think that the Houston Rockets have set up their franchise to win.
I actually want to comment on this because I actually think they hit on pretty much all four of their first-round picks. Jalen Green, I think I wasn't a huge fan of him. I wasn't as big of a fan of him before the draft as I was after when me and Sean got to see him live at Summer League, and I saw the special. I saw his ability to just get to his spots so smooth, just makes it look so effortless. And I think he has what it takes to be an all-NBA caliber player. Then you talked about Alperen Şengün.
Mm-hmm.
He is again, I agree. He is one of the bigger steals in the draft. I had him ninth on my board, if I remember correctly. And he looked great in summer league. He's so patient. He's always working. His motor is excellent. Then they also got Usman Garuba. Uh, he's a very good defender. Needs to improve the three ball. That's for sure. But they can work with that. That can take time. But he was guarded. If anyone watched in the Olympics, even he was guarding Kevin Durant. He played with Team Spain. For those who don't know, and he was guarding Kevin Durant, and physically he could keep up with him. Like you saw some of the raw potential there.
Wait, hold on. Just for the recording, did you say he could stop Kevin Durant?
No, I'm not saying
you.
that. I'm not going that far.
I had to throw you under the bus. Sorry, man.
No, and then Josh Christopher, I think, is another guy that he improved a lot between the time Arizona State ended and the summer league started. He looked in great shape at the combine, and that was a good pickup for them.
No, they've made a ton of nice pickups. They're in position to make a couple trades. I think when John Wall, if he gets traded, somebody that I can see thrown in with him is actually Eric Gordon. I think he's not in the plan for Houston's future.
Sure,
So
yeah.
if you throw Eric Gordon in there, you're going to get at least some value back for that. So I'm excited to see what the Houston Rockets can do. I want to make sure you guys subscribed to BS Scouting. They've just started a YouTube channel. I've been helping out over there. And I'm excited to see where they can keep going. They do lives on Twitter. You can follow them on Instagram, I believe, right?
Yes. BS Scouting, same handle as our Twitter. And for our Twitter spaces, we go live every Wednesday night. So check us out.
Yeah, make sure you guys check them out Wednesday night. I believe it's always about 9 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken.
9 Central. Yep.
Yep. 9 o'clock Central Time, Wednesday nights on Twitter. You can catch me there every now and then. I poke my head in for a couple episodes here and there. And these guys, they know their basketball. I mean, they were down at the Summer League watching live. And I want to thank you guys for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having us, Max. I always love talking to you, man. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, appreciate this, Mamba.
Hey, yo. I love talking to you guys, too. Hopefully, I'll be popping my head in there for another live soon. Hopefully, I think
we'll have to set something up.
I think I should be free next Wednesday, and I think I might pop by. If I'm not talking, I don't care. I might still have to poke my head in there because these guys spit some basketball knowledge. So again, links to their stuff will be in the description. We're gonna have a double upload tonight, so stay tuned for that. And again, huge shout out to you guys.
Hey, thank you so much, man.